Hey, welcome to. we're not doing the.
Hey, you're starting it, man.
We're not doing the Nicholson.
I mean, I'm sorry. You're starting it. Why don't you fucking do it?
We're doing this one as Nicholson then. We're doing this one as Nicholson. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Jake.
I feel like mine's a little bit more Reagan.
Yeah. That's all right. We got a president and a Joker here.
Yeah.
It really is just Christian Slater.
Yeah, it's just Christian Slater.
Well, Christian Slater is clearly trying to do Jack Nicholson.
Well, yeah,
That's commitment.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna drive home from work and just talk to myself as Jack Nicholson, and the whole way I was like, it's just Christian Slater.
Tiny Toons made that joke back when I was a child.
I feel like that's where like it all stems from. Yeah.
Even Christian Slater was like, yeah, I do.
You sound like him a little.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Heathers.
Yeah.
And Star Trek 6.
Oh, shit. And True Romance. Legit good movie.
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie.
Do you not like Star Trek 6? I don't like Star Trek 6.
No.
I don't remember which one that is, but no.
It's the one with Klingons.
It's the one with Christian Slater.
The one with Klingons.
Yeah. It's got like those slow. Remember like the 0G Klingon blood?
I do actually remember that.
Yeah. That fucked me up as a kid.
Yeah,
but you know what didn't fuck me up as a kid? Zack Kaplan.
Oh. I thought we were interviewing Jack Nicholson.
God, I wish we were interviewing Jack Nicholson. God.
What's your
No
favorite
offense
son
to-
kill?
No offense to. I'm sure, like if
I'm sure Zack Kaplan wishes that he was interviewed.
dude, if Jack Nicholson was on the show, I would invite Zack Kaplan just to be a Skype fly on that
I
wall.
really like those sun kills, you crazy fuck.
I want to be in the movie.
Yeah, I like when they explode from the sun.
I'll be the sun.
Yeah, just this Jack Nicholson's face, and like the door opens, and here I come, motherfuckers, and just
Here's Sonny.
Yeah, Zach, if you're listening,
We got a sequel for you.
I know Eclipse just got optioned for TV.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson. Yeah, bring him out of retirement.
But yeah,
He could sit in a chair. Just
that's the easiest paycheck for good old Jack. But you know, Zach's got he's bringing back Eclipse. Port of Earth #5 out in comic book stores everywhere on Wednesday, May 9th. Pretty sure that doesn't have Nicholson, but I'm sure we could find a place to put. He could be one of the aliens that comes to Port of Earth.
You know, I've just realized that if I had any talent and I could write and draw, I would put Jack Nicholson in the background of every volume I ever did of anything.
Just constantly that picture from The Shining.
Except
he was in the foreground.
I've actually never seen that movie.
I have.
Oh!
5 Easy Pieces.
Oh, yeah. Is that the one where he wants toast? And they're like, we don't have toast. And he's like, I'll take a chicken salad. Hold the chicken salad. Is that the one? I like that line.
Yeah.
If that's the line, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah. And his first Aftershock book, Lost City Explorers. Not Jack Nicholson.
No, I know. For a second, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson's first book.
Yeah. That motherfucker won't write. But Zack Kaplan does, and his Lost City Explorers comes out in June. So just as a recap before we launch it, well, you know what? I fuck it. I mentioned it in the intro to the interview.
Yeah.
So you'll hear it again with 100% less Jack Nicholson, but for his 4-peat appearance, Zack Kaplan. Zach, this is your 4th appearance on our fine program.
Sweet.
Yeah,
is there a 5-timers club, by the way, like SNL? Because I would like to get that status.
There is a prize, and I am shitty. I shit you not. There is an actual prize. There is a bunch of people that have been on 4 times. Kyle Starks, Alex DeCampi, Jim Zub, does Spy Seal, Rich Tommaso. Yeah, but nobody has quite crossed that threshold. We do have a basket of goodies ready for the first person to enter that holy city.
Well, it's going to be me, my friends.
Oh,
no problem. By the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
We'll do this one, and then we'll do something by the end of the year, and I'll my claim to fame. 2 years in the business, and I got the the basket. So I like it.
Let's kind of like go back a bit. Something I always like to mention whenever like you and I cross paths at cons and we're like introducing ourselves to like the Skybound people or whatever, the Top Cow people, is that we were your first podcast, and somehow you still keep coming back.
I'm still uneducated and naive, and I still do lots of naive things that someday somebody will tell me not to do. But now it's too late. I'm just too. You can't. I have bad habits, and so someone's going to say you shouldn't be doing that, and I'm going to say, but I like doing that, so I think I'll just keep doing it. So
I will take that as a compliment, man.
I like your podcast, and I like coming on it, so I think I'll just keep doing it, and oh well.
So,
oops.
One, I appreciate that, so thanks.
It's a backward, right?
Yeah, but the other thing is, like, in the 2 years you've been working in comics, you've got, your first series, Eclipse, has been optioned for television, poised to return later this summer for a third arc.
Yeah.
You've got Port of Earth is back with issue 5 on Wednesday, May 9th, out in comic book stores everywhere and on Comixology, kicking off the second volume. And you've got your first project with another publisher, Aftershock Comics. You're doing Lost City Explorers.
Yeah.
So
that's some exciting stuff.
It's been a very busy, and you're like a 2-time dad now. Like, you've been a very busy guy.
I am. Yeah. It's I'm loving every second of it, but it is there's a lot going on for sure, a lot to balance, but it's all very exciting. I'm really excited about this summer because I'll have because up until now, so I'm a year and a half in, and up until now it's really been a one thing at a time kind of thing. I had Eclipse. Eclipse ran 8 issues and 2 trades, and then that took a little break, and we did Port of Earth, and Port of Earth has been running, and now Eclipse is coming back, and Lost City Explorers is premiering. And so I'll have 3 titles out at the same time. So I feel like that guy in the circus that spins plates. And it's like, here we go, putting another plate up, putting another plate up. Can I spin all 3? But so far so good. And I'm just super excited for it all to come back. There's a lot to tell you guys about.
Well, I was wondering, so how did the whole Aftershock and Lost City Explorers kind of come out? That's out in June, if memory serves.
Yeah, that comes out in June. I mean, Aftershock Comics is new to the game. They've only been, I think, around for a couple of years, and they immediately popped up on my radar. I mean, I buy comics and read comics, and so I started and tried something out and loved it, and tried something out and loved it, and just was consistently impressed by the quality of their comics, the creators that they were bringing to the table, the marketing presence. They just seemed to be doing everything right, and I got very excited about them, and I wanted to work with them, and I tracked them down and sat down with them at San Diego Comicon last year, and pitched them a couple ideas, and magic happened. They were super excited, and we decided to make the Lost City Explorers. So, and it's a really cool, fun adventure book. So I'm really excited about it.
This is Lost City is your first real foray into the supernatural, because both Port of Earth and Eclipse are very science fiction heavy. Or certainly,
there's a layer of supernatural, although I think the layer of supernatural blends with sci-fi. And when you get into the depths of the story, you'll see how. Because I think the difference is supernatural is like unexplained, and sci-fi is like the extension of what if on science. So it's a little more. But there's a layer of supernatural there. It's also a bit more of a fun. It's more fun. I mean, if you like seeing people burn alive, then Eclipse is fun, and if you like seeing alien politics, then Port of Earth is fun. But those are kind of heady, darker titles, and Lost City Explorers is a more fun adventure story. The characters are teenagers, and it's definitely got some new elements for me, which has been a lot of fun.
Kind of like rediscovering the game. Would you say kind of that was kind of informed by being a father and being a parent and that sort of thing? Just kind of like,
well, I don't know exactly. I've always wanted to write something like this. I mean, I think for years, I mean, I love all things 80s. This is not 80s, but I love all things 80s. I love Goonies. I love when I see Stranger Things came out. I love Stranger Things. Ready Player One, and I just think it's just been something I really wanted to do, is tell an adventure story with teenagers and kind of an homage to some of the things I loved growing up. And my kids are small; they're little kids. I have a new baby and I have a 3-year-old daughter, and so this is not really something that they can relate to now. But it certainly does cross my mind that perhaps, as they get older, maybe this will be one of the first titles they go to. It's hard to know because they have so far to go. But I just have always loved stories that capture a youthful imagination. I didn't want to do something period. I wanted to do something with modern teenagers, and something that maybe would appeal to maybe a slightly more youthful demographic. There's a lot of 10-year-olds that come up to my table and at conventions and stuff and look at Eclipse, and I'm like, you have to ask your dad if you can read people getting burned alive by sunlight. So I've always been drawn to do something with teenagers. I'm really excited to finally do it.
Something I've noticed, kind of a thread, I don't know if it's a conscious one or an unconscious one, like by Eclipse's very nature, they have to be subterranean. The sun kills. They get like annihilated as soon as they get exposed. A fair amount of the first arc of Port of Earth takes place in the sewers, very kind of like a darkened setting. Lost the Explorers, they're kind of looking for Atlantis, under a modern metropolis.
Underground, right?
Yeah, a lot of subterranean stuff you got going on.
I know that's true. I think it's just I don't know what is up with that. That is just, I guess, an odd fascination of mine. Write what you're drawn to. I guess I'm just drawn. I love subterranean and tunnels, and there's just something really exciting and dark and mysterious about those kinds of landscapes. Both Eclipse and Lost City Explorers take place in underground New York City, in very different underground New York cities, but underground New York City. So, I'm just drawn to it. I think probably as I continue some of the new ideas that I'm developing, I think I'm going to be able to get away from that for a while. But yeah, this is my subterranean period. Like Picasso's got his blue period and his red period. This is my my tunnel period.
I hope I didn't spoil that for you, where you're just consciously like, shit, I can't do anything set in the dark anymore.
No, I think it's cool. I think it's cool when people pick up threads in my stuff. I'm sure if someone's the more I do, the more people will be like, oh, you like this, and you like this theme, and you like this kind of character, and I'll be like, oh shoot, you're right, I do.
Well, I remember.
I think that's cool. I think that's fun to have someone pick up on those things and share them. That's not.
I think
I'm not trying to hide anything here.
The last time you were on, I was like, both Eclipse and Port of Earth follow sci-fi law enforcement guys and facing overwhelming things, and you're like, oh shit, you're right.
Yeah.
So you're kind of changing gears, but you're still under the ground.
Well, I think all of my I think there's a thread of there's also something very I don't want to say anti-establishment, but all of my stories kind of deal with characters who are kind of questioning their place in the world and their place in society. Like the heroes in Eclipse, Bax and Cielo, are really trying to determine how they want to relate to society and whether they want to embrace or hide or challenge. Port of Earth is very much about our place in the galaxy, and simultaneously the two ESA agents and how they'll handle their place in this law enforcement protocol and system. And Lost City Explorers is this group of teenagers is kind of questioning their place in the world too. So there's some things I just come back to that I just when your mind goes to an idea, you let it go, and then you find you end up in the same place sometimes. So, but in a different way. They're all different stories. They're all exciting and different to read, but obviously similarities.
Speaking of Port of Earth, you kind of end on a big cliffhanger. People die, as people are wont to do, and there's the big news that the consortium's looking to open up a second port somewhere on Earth. So with going into the 5th issue and into Arc 2, are you kind of going more global, or are you going to stay more, still kind of stick to the Bay Area?
The second arc continues the story in the first arc. I look at the first 8 issues as a real contained larger first arc, and they're just separated by the fact that Top Cow does 4-issue arcs, and I really even couldn't have fit the story I wanted into 5ers. It needed 8 issues, but that is the first real contained movement, and it follows those 2 agents, Rice and McIntyre, and it follows the story in San Francisco and what's going on. And the second arc. So the whole the premise is, if people haven't picked it up yet, it's what would happen if aliens came not to blow us up like they always do, but came with a business deal. And the business deal is they open a port up here on Earth. We think we made a deal with the UN of the galaxy, and it turns out we made a deal with Chevron of the galaxy. So we have to police the aliens coming through. And the first arc is the setup of that. And yeah, there's a death, and there's this traumatic situation at the end. And the real question is, because there's a real metaphor of colonialism here, and I think back to, I maybe even talked with you guys about how it's very kind of drawing from like Europeans coming to America or what have you. But when you have reasonable characters who kind of stand in the middle of these situations, the tensions hold. And so my question in the second arc is, when you have people dying and you can't really justify the means anymore, what happens when the reasonable characters start to kind of question things? What happens when it's not making sense anymore, and you don't really have anybody in the middle? You just have extremes, and you just have emotions running hot. And so the second arc I'm really excited about, because if the first arc was setup, the second arc is character and real and really a lot hotter in terms of the emotions. So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm very excited about the second arc of Port of Earth, and then I'm really excited to take the story more global places, other places. I don't want to ruin too much about some of my ideas for where it goes, but yeah, the second arc is really cool, really exciting, and ends with a big bang.
Well, you kind of, with the solicited covers, you definitely tease like certain very iconic locations. So, seeing that and the bombshell at the end of that second, or at the end of issue 4, are we gonna, because of the way things went down at the end of that first volume, are we going to see increased friction between Rice and Mac?
Yes, and also, just how those characters handle things. I mean, those characters are kind of having a very thematic debate in the first arc about, are these law enforcement officers there to protect human beings, or are they there to protect aliens, and which is it? And that's a very cerebral debate in the first arc. And then it's a very emotional debate in the second arc, because now there's there's death and tragedy, so it's different, and it kind of splinters. So it's definitely, the debate elevates, and it's awesome. I don't want to. It's hard for me to talk about the second arc because a large portion of the second arc goes in a direction that I can't really talk too much about without spoiling it. So I'm being vague on purpose, but it's really cool, and I think also too, the whole idea from the very get-go was a very removed idea. You're watching the whole story unfold through these news cameras. You're seeing the journalist interview the ESA head. You feel like you're watching it on CNN, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And it's all very removed compared to like Eclipse or just in general normal stories where you actually get to meet the characters and relate to them and understand their wants and their dreams and their fears a little bit before they go on some sort of journey or deal with conflict. Like this is a very removed experience. So I think what's cool is the first arc really you see Rice and McIntyre, but you don't really get a chance to relate to them too much. And then suddenly in the second arc, there's a lot more emotion, a lot more heat to their relationship, and you start to kind of go, oh, I do. Oh, wow. This is like I'm still removed. Like I'm watching this on the news, but now I'm really invested in these guys and what's happening, and so I'm really excited to take the story there.
Switching over to Eclipse World, Arc 2 also ended on quite a cliffhanger. You got Cielo kind of opposing her father directly and kind of going more into this resistance, and you've got Bax making these big revelations about the nature of people that are immune to the killer sun rays, and that there's more there than just like, oh, the sun kills people. Like there's like wheels within wheels level of conspiracy. So are we going to see those threads? And you had also kept, now that I'm thinking about it, Bax and Cielo were pretty much separate for the second arc. Are they going to kind of reunite in the third as they take on these? They
do, although not at first. I think the third arc spends a good half of its time slowly bringing them together and kind of setting up new conflicts. The onions in terms of the layers in terms of what has been happening in the past really starts to come off in the third arc. We really start to understand what has been going on with these men who don't burn and this sunlight immunity, and we start to really kind of get the origin story of what has happened there, which kind of informs how complicated the whole situation really is. And if anybody's enjoyed the first two arcs of Eclipse, they've enjoyed this kind of you think it's one way and then it's another way, and that's always my goal, is to kind of to take the one perception and do a little spin on it. So yeah, and the artwork on Eclipse, I just have to take a moment. The artwork on the new third arc of Eclipse is unbelievable. It's just crazy. First off, Giovanni Timpano is he's the next Jeff Darrow. He's a beast. It's amazing. The level of detail is bananas. The layouts are gorgeous. The fact that he goes from fantastic character faces to action to world building, it's just cool. I think we found our stride more than ever. I mean, I write to his strengths, and I deliver scenes where I'm like, you want detail here, draw this, and then he does it, and I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. It's so the artwork's great. Flavio has just gotten it so good in terms of capturing the coloring of Eclipse. Troy's always great on letters. The book. I'm just so excited and proud of the book. It's the third arc is great. It's exciting. You have all of these different characters who we've come to know. Bax and Cielo's dad. You've got these secondary characters like Captain Everly and Valerie and the Underground, and it was a lot of personalities to kind of keep going with, and they all really just collide in the third arc, and it's just so much fun, and we get to burn some people and have some exciting new set pieces. I'm really excited. For anybody I feel who's been cursing us for taking so long, will thank us for taking so long. So it's awesome.
I remember this past New York Comicon was the first time you met Giovanni and Andrea face to face.
Yeah, Yeah, it's the welcome to comics, right? Where you work with somebody and you never meet them. Yeah, I got to meet both of them for the first time. Ironically enough, I have a thing for Italian artists, completely coincidental, but they're both from Italy, totally different guys. And yeah, Giovanni is he's like an analytical, he's a perfectionist. He's very analytical. He really loves to focus on the details, on the truth of this of a moment. Andrea is like fun and thrill and excitement. He's just a funny guy. He just loves life. He's just passionate. He just he's very evocative, and that's so the styles are very different. Both great guys, both great artists, and yeah, it was a real trip to hang out with both of them. I love them both. They're great. It's funny. I mean, I guess people out there who have done comics or have done similar projects can relate. When you go through one of these books with someone, you invariably bond in a way that it's a real it's such a collab. You can't help but get in the weeds with each other. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some people out there who just submit scripts and never talk to their artists, and for me,
I know a few. I know a few.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's okay too. But for me, I try to bring as much passion as I possibly can to everything I work on. I respect everybody I work with. I question everything we do. I want it to be the best it possibly can be. I throw ideas out if the ideas don't work. So for me, it's a real collaborative process, and you really bond with someone over that, and you go 4 issues or 8 issues on something, and you say yes, no, this, that. You come out of it just feeling a whole different way, because you have to embrace and respect and appreciate somebody in that kind of process. So yeah, it's really awesome, and I love those guys. They're great.
This was also, just real quick, this was your first Emerald City and first C2E2 at the time we're recording this.
I'd done C2E2 once before. I did it last year. My first Emerald City. Yeah.
But yeah, I was okay. Well, let me speak to the Seattle experience. The last time you and I crossed paths, how did you find the Seattle scene?
It's a scene, man. It's interesting. I mean, the first off, Seattle's a cool city. Seattle Comicon is Emerald City's bananas. It was packed. It was nuts. There was a love of comics, which was awesome. A number of creators there was awesome. I liked Emerald City a lot. There's a real excitement in the air because it's the beginning of con season. It's the beginning of everybody launching new properties and this and that. I have a very it's weird, because I'm still new to the game and I'm still meeting people, and I still don't know a lot of people, and so you go to some of these conventions or bar scenes afterwards, and all of these creators know everybody, and they're all very nice and collegiate, and I'm just still the new guy, I feel, in a lot of ways. So it's a little overwhelming sometimes, and sometimes you see guys where you're just like, holy shit, there's so and so, and I can't possibly talk to that person. Sorry, next up. But yeah, Emerald City was great. C2E2 is great. They're different. They're different scenes. C2E2 is you're in the marathon of the year by C2E2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think in general, by Emerald City, everyone's really got a lot of excitement, and they're like, here we go, Comics 2018, and then C2E2, everyone's like already in the mix of everything, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, just kind of like in that mode.
Yeah.
I remember, because in Seattle, I think I introduced you to Ram, the guy that writes.
Yeah. Ram V. Ram.
You're
talking about the
Paradiso.
Paradiso writer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Fantastic, yeah. We're trying to get him back on too. It's always tough doing the international stuff though. But the you know, it's really like it's friends coming. I always loved how nurturing the comic community is. I always dug that.
Very much. I mean, anybody who thinks that comics are competing with each other doesn't get it. And anybody that thinks creators are competing with each other doesn't get it. Somebody said something to me about that in that way or something, and it's like, it's not like that. You know what I mean? Creative process is creative. You're creating something and you're putting it out there for everyone to experience who wants to experience it. And if you show up at a con or you hit this scene thinking that it's an either or, it's just not. And so it's just that's a tragic way to look at it. So yes, I absolutely think that comics are best when they're collaborative, when they're supportive. I love online seeing something I'd want to read and being like, oh my God, that looks awesome. You guys should check that out. That looks great. This looks great. I want to get that. I want to get this. Comics has this real collector mentality where, you know, we want to collect all this stuff that's out there and collect it intellectually and to process it and talk about it and share it. So yeah, I love that about comics. I think that's maybe even a little different than TV and film and all that stuff. So it's so much more engaged. It's awesome.
Oh yeah. So Zach, something that you've been on the receiving end for 3 times, now the 4th. What are you currently geeking out over?
Oh gosh, you'd think I would be prepared for this every time, right?
Well, every time you've had like Game of Thrones to fall back on, but Game of Thrones is in the off season now, man.
That's very true. It's the worst possible time to ask me, considering I've got a newborn baby at home and all this stuff. I mean, I'm bad because I've got a lot of partial things that I'm started to watch, and I haven't finished them. I'm watching The Alienist, which is really cool. I like period piece stuff, so I'm excited about that. I got to see The Disaster Artist on the plane. Let's see. Let's talk comics. What comics did I get to read? Oh, Michael, how do you say his name? Moreci? Moreci?
Yeah, Michael Moreci.
Michael Morici's Wasted Space is really cool. I dug that first issue. It's really unique and different. Yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun. I dug that a lot. Walk Through Hell, Garth Ennis's new book with Aftershock. Man, that is that's Garth Ennis right there doing like procedural FBI, but it's got this something weird and trippy is going on. That was a really cool first issue. That made me want to read it again, kind of thing. So that was really. I don't think that comes out yet. These are both
you're teasing us.
Advances. You guys got to check those out. What else is?
Did you read Punisher Platoon? Speaking
of that. No, is it cool?
That is like one of my favorite comics. I guess technically last year because it started, but I think it's like the 6-issue mini delving back into Ennis doing what he does best, which is Frank Castle in the Max form, but it's his first tour in Vietnam, and
nice.
It is astounding. Like it's one of those things where I always used to joke like referring to a character like someone who didn't create the character but reinventing it. It's like I would always call it Frank Millering it, what he did, Batman and Daredevil and stuff. But like Ennis has just totally changed. And I recently, like last year, the year before, read his entire like run on the Punisher Max stuff, and like that guy just thinks he looks at Frank Castle so differently, and I think he's a character that could easily fall into like everyone, could write him very similar and very the same. But the way he looks at him, the way he does things, especially in Platoon, like it's crazy. It's just another great addition to that Max, that kind of all-encompassing story that he's done. And supposedly there's a sequel or another book he's doing, another Punisher book he's doing.
Punisher is a good character for Garth Ennis.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense for me, and so I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's funny too because like you could easily just take away the fact that it's Frank Castle, and it's just an amazing Vietnam story, because like it's not about the skull, it's not about superheroes, it's not about tights, all that kind of stuff. It's about this guy on his first tour in Vietnam, and then it just goes, in ways you don't think it would normally go.
It's awesome. I'll put it on the list.
Definitely recommend
I'm sold.
it.
Yeah,
I'm sold for sure. Yeah, I don't. In terms of geeking out, I'm really in the weeds in terms of writing comics, and so when I wake up, I mean, I'm not between Emerald City and C2E2 and kids. I'm spending most of my time when I have it writing comics, definitely spinning the plates. So I'm just geeking out on comic book writing and on creating good stories and on balancing between character and spectacle and pacing and awesome layouts and collaborating with my artists and having a great time. So I'm looking forward to maybe when I can put my head up and actually geek out on some more geeky. Oh, I'll tell you what I'm gonna have to fit in the next couple weeks, which is just gonna wreck my schedule. But the next video game, there's two video games that I've had my eye on for a very long time. Red Dead Redemption 2, which thank God they keep pushing it back because that's gonna eat 100 hours of my life when that comes out. But that's, I think, been pushed all the way back to the
holiday season.
Yeah. And the new God of War. It's like open world God of War. You're training your son, and it looks really, really cool. And I think it comes out in like 10 days or something like that, or a few days.
By the end of the month, yeah. I finally got a PlayStation 4. I've got 3 games for it. It's hooked up. It's installed. I just haven't played any of. I just haven't had the time, man.
At least you've taken it out of the box by now.
Zero Dawn Horizon, whatever the name. I can never remember the order of those 3 words, but that game is awesome. Just running around the world, shooting electric arrows at giant mechanical dinosaurs is the coolest thing ever.
Sounds like it.
That's a really awesome game. But yeah, God of War, the new God of War, I think I might just have to splurge and go get that one and play it at late hours of the morning. 2 a.m. kind of thing. That's the only time I play a video.
No, me too.
When
man.
everyone's sleeping, I'm gonna play my video games.
Yeah, between the day job and writing for Image and CBR, I just don't get the chance anymore. And doing this,
it's hard.
Yeah.
You congrats on the CBR thing. That's awesome. You didn't have enough on your plate, I guess. You needed to take on more, huh?
Yeah, well, and me being me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a blog post about every single Marvel Studios movie, counting down to Infinity War. And so I've been doing that too. Yeah, man, that's what you get when you're, like
a psychopath.
That.
It's good stuff. Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
it's.
I don't know how you do it with a family, man. I'm single now, and I still struggle to make it all work.
I mean, I love my family. I love my kids. But definitely, it definitely creates some challenges in terms of balancing everything, and it's just sleep. But the problem for me, I can't write on little sleep or no sleep. So when it comes to marketing or travel or doing something, all the other stuff that goes with this, I can do that stuff no problem. But when it comes to the fact that I got to write pages, I need sleep, and I need to wake up and be fresh. And having 3 titles in production just barrages you with. I mean, I was talking to Jim Zub at C2E2, and I said, "How many scripts do you write a month?" And he said 5. And I said, "How many scripts would you like to write a month?" And he said 3. And so I'm like, I'm at 3 projects. I guess I am doing like 4 scripts a month. It's just crazy. It's a lot. So I don't know how to do it either. But I have a feeling that it's not going to slow down. I think it's only going to get more for me. So I don't know. I guess you get, it's like athletes though. I think as a writer and as a comic book creator, and I guess anything you do as a reviewer, as a journalist, you become more well-oiled the more you do it. And you just it all just comes a little bit easier, a little bit smoother. So
I definitely have a routine, yeah, for my not comic scripts that I'm writing, but for like news stories and stuff like that, or writing art, columns for the magazine. It's like, all right, this is my writing time, and this is what I'm going to do this much, and I'm going to now I'm going to copy edit, and yeah, I think that's the thing. You just have to budget out all that time.
Yeah, I think being organized and with your time and prioritizing is hugely important. I make huge lists constantly of everything that I have to do and what needs to happen this week and what needs to happen today and what needs to happen right now. Because otherwise things fall through the cracks and then you don't get to them. And so you have to budget your time and pick and choose and focus. Yeah, so I spend a lot of time doing that. It's the only way to succeed is to be organized with your time.
Yeah. Well, Zach, before we let you go, just again, you've got Port of Earth #5 coming out on Wednesday, May 9th. You've got Lost City Explorers coming out through Aftershocks in June, and you've got sometime this summer the return of Eclipse. Is there anything else you'd like to? I mean, that's quite a bit, but is there anything else you'd like to plug?
No, that's it. I'll just say, Lost City Explorers is still getting ordered, so definitely. I don't even think I pitched you guys the story. I'm sure that everyone reading it has maybe seen it through the announcement and stuff, but it's basically a Stranger Things kind of story about a group of millennial teenagers that go looking for the lost city of Atlantis that is buried underneath New York City, and one of their dads is an archaeologist that basically goes missing, and they think he's dead, and then they find out he's trapped, and they have to go rescue him. And it's an urban exploration, archaeological, sci-fi, supernatural mashup. It's been an insane amount of fun to write. I'm really, really happy. I think it's awesome. The art by Alvaro Saraseca is really, really cool. The underground stuff's great. The characters, he really does a fantastic job of capturing these teenage characters, and I'm really excited about the book. So there'll be more coming as we get closer to the date. I think there's only a couple of preview pages out there and a couple covers, so we'll continue to share more. But definitely go tell your local comic book shop to reserve you a copy, and that's through Aftershock Comics. And yeah, that's it for me right now. I'm doing Denver Comicon and San Diego Comicon later this summer, and trying to finalize my free comic book day plans, but haven't locked those down yet. And I'm online always at Zack Kaps, and I like talking comics, so anybody can hit me up, and that's it.
Well, there you have it, Zach. Thanks again for keep coming back for more, and I hope you get the basket.
Well, who else do I have to edge out here? There's a few guys that could come back and take it from me. Is that what it is?
Well, it's not the first. Everybody gets it, but if you want to be the first, you have to beat Kyle Starks, Jim Zub, Alex DeCampi, and Rich Tommaso.
Got it. Well, that's some tough competition, and those guys could very easily swoop in and be the first. But I will try my best to make it back by the end of the year with some more news and more excitement, and see if I can get it. So I guess your listeners will just have to wait and see if I pull it off.
There you go. Thanks again, Zach.
Thanks, guys.
You know what the difference between doing Christian Slater and Jack Nicholson is?
What?
It's if you okay, hang on. Because right now I'm doing Christian Slater, but now I'm doing Jack. And you can't tell over the podcast, but if you put your eyebrows up, and I don't have any sunglasses with me, but if you have sunglasses and you do the thing where you put the sunglasses on, hang on 1 second.
Yeah, the As Good as It Gets poster.
I'm so glad that this is.
You do the.
Yeah.
They're not the glasses aren't tied up from my head, but you put them down. I used to be able to do this. The glasses aren't tied up. I'm blaming the glasses. But anyway, if you put an eyebrow up and you do Christian Slater's voice, you're now doing Jack Nicholson. If you don't have your eyebrow up, then you're just doing Christian Slater. That's official.
Oh.
And
So
that's
if you put up the eyebrow, you become a bit of a fucking nut job. But if the eyebrow's down, you're true romance.
Is that your go-to Slater?
Again and again.
it's not cuffs.
No, when I think of true
Alone in the Dark.
when I think of Christian Slater, it's true romance,
Mm.
which isn't streaming anywhere. So I bought it on DVD.
Is that a DVD?
Is that a DVD?
Not even a Blu-ray.
Yeah, it was like a special edition thing or something.
Yeah. Man, so you guys get, thanks again to Zach.
Yes.
For coming on the show.
Yes.
Again,
I'm so glad I hit record right when I did.
we were his first podcast, and despite this madness, he keeps coming back.
Yeah, he's blowing up, man. Good for him.
Yeah, man.
Always rooting for the guy.
Oh, dude, yeah. Year and a half on the job and working the comic scene. Already doing shows around the country. 3 books, 1 already optioned for TV. He is, they grow up so fast. You guys getting anything at all this week?
So,
Albany.
I mean, yeah, I was in Albany at working at my new job. It's taking me traveling. It was pretty exciting. This is the first time I've had a job that travels, and I got to expense all my purchases, and the hotel room was paid for. And watched WrestleMania in 3 pieces because I was working so much and so tired I couldn't watch it all at once because it was so long.
Did you watch the pre-show too?
So I watched the show first, and then once I finished the show, I was like, okay, I should go back and watch the pre-show. One, because I run the wrestling podcast, and the results mattered. Because we now, anyone that listens to that show has known for a week now, but Tim now has the title, so congratulations, Tim, first time winner. And it came down to the wire because he and I were tied.
Listener, first time winner.
But yeah, he and I were tied, and then he brought up a good point that he gets a half point for Ronda Rousey winning, even though The Rock was not her partner. But yeah, so that was fun. WrestleMania was fun. Pre-show was fine. NXT was killer, but it's to be expected. But then because of all the work that I was doing this weekend, my boss was like, "Hey, if you want, you can take the morning off today, the day that we're recording." So I ended up waking up at the same time that I normally would. So I was like, "Okay, cool. Well, I will gently, slowly have breakfast and enjoy it." And then go see an early bird movie. I went to the movies before noon. Was half price ticket. Great,
very good.
Here, since I have headphones on, and that's right in my ear. So sexy.
What'd you see?
I saw A Quiet Place.
Very good. Don't spoil it because I'm going to see it tomorrow.
It's so good. So I am the last person to spoil.
I mean, just stop talking about it. Don't even talk about it.
Okay.
Did you like it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Seriously. Unless you wanted to,
you want to go in like me and just nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. I am totally fine with that. We will talk about it next
week.
Because
I love Get Out, these movies that are coming and changing the horror game or really bringing it to the forefront, making it It
Follows.
Yeah. Oh, It Follows is really cool.
I still need to see that.
the Evil Dead reboot
Mm-hmm.
celebrated its 5-year anniversary recently.
Ooh.
And Fede Alvarez was posting a bunch of cool facts about it on Twitter.
I miss
And
pop-up
that
video.
movie, like that movie is just so fucking great, man.
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie. But yeah, I'm very excited. And excuse me, I was telling Sam, like, it's so crazy, and I don't mean this in a negative way at all, but it's so crazy to me that like John Krasinski like wrote and directed this. Like
Yeah.
when I first saw the trailer, I didn't realize, I thought he was just starring in it with his wife. But I was like, oh, he like wrote and directed this, and I've been, watching and rewatching The Office ever since it was put on Netflix, and even, back when it was on TV, weekly. And so he's so much incorporated with like that, fun, loving, kind of funny prankster guy. And so it's so crazy to me that like he's making this like huge dent and a name for himself in the horror genre. It's really cool.
What's funny is true to form. I had no idea that it was written and directed by John Krasinski until the end credits.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which was a
so the movie ends.
Yeah.
Nice spoiler.
Yeah, and they have credits at the end that say directed and written by John Krasinski.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was like, oh shit.
Was it? So you saw an early show?
Yeah.
Because I'm debating about trying to see an early show tomorrow because I don't want there to be a lot of people to be like making noise.
There was like a handful of people.
Okay.
It was great.
That's cool.
So good.
That's
Yeah. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I want to hear all about it.
I will. Okay.
I mean, we'll be recording this maybe later that day, so we could probably talk about it a little bit.
Maybe or maybe not.
Yeah. I wonder if people can even hear what we're saying.
I don't care.
What'd you do this week?
I don't know. I watched the first 2 Purge movies.
Oh, how were
because also we all watched the. I made you guys watch the trailer twice for that movie Upgrade.
I have been singing its praises.
Yes, good.
Spreading the
Spread
gospel.
Spread the gospel. I hope that's the
Upgrade.
next John Wick.
Oh.
Like, it looks just so much fucking fun, man. I can't stop watching the trailer. Watch the Red Band trailer.
I haven't
for
even
Upgrade.
seen the Green Band trailer.
It's just not as
Yeah.
violent.
I
it's
imagine
pretty much the same
I
thing, but
imagine
not
it
as
doesn't
violent.
have the guy's like face.
Yeah,
being
and he also
split
doesn't
open.
go, "I'm a fucking ninja." Like,
Actually.
But it looks just fucking great. I'm not even, just go watch the trailer. It looks totally insane. But it's a Blumhouse like production, and usually I don't fall for like from the producer of blah 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 because that usually doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be anything like that movie. It's just that movie made a lot of money. Boom, bang, boom. But like Get Out and The Purge and Saw were like pretty much thrown out throughout the movie, and I was like, you know what? Like I've always been dancing around the Purge movies. I've never seen them. There's a new one coming out this year, which wasn't like I have to see it, but and I like Ethan Hawke and I like Lena Headey, and which I totally forgot that she was in the movie. So that was a super awesome added bonus. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch the first one, which is to say, technically the 5th Purge, and I guess like in terms of like the linear, the chronologically whatever. But anyway, the first one that came out with Ethan Hawke, and I was like pleasantly surprised because I thought it was going to be kind of just like a standard horror movie, but it was actually kind of like really interesting, and like it was more of just kind of like home invade. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a jump scare crazy paint by numbers kind of thing. I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting, and I was pleasantly surprised. And then I immediately watched the second one, which has is it Frank Grillo, Crossbones fame.
That's the one.
And I was like, and texted Sam immediately. I was like, dude, and no disrespect to
Bernie.
Well, no disrespect to
John Bernthal.
John Bernthal. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was thinking like Bernie.
Yeah.
I was like Bernie
Sanders?
Yeah. Bernie Sanders is the best Frank Castle.
Yeah. We're gonna fuck him up. Lock and loaded.
On your left.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking of like that gif of him like running. He's just like strapped down with like fucking M16s and M60s. I'm gonna fuck up the bad guys. Anyway, John Bernthal. No disrespect to him, but I texted him. I was like, why the fuck isn't Frank Grillo the Punisher, man? Because in that movie, he's basically the Punisher. Like he's suiting up. He's lost his child, and he's gonna go out for revenge. But of course, he's the reluctant good guy. And it was just a fun, straight, kind of insane action movie. And there's this one scene that like I fucking like. There's a lot of like fuck yeah moments in that movie. There's a lot of fuck yeah moments in the first. Let's say the first Grudge, the first Purge movie. In the second one, there's a scene where like the rich bid on like people, and then they go kill them because they can, because it's legal for 12 hours. And so they have this like maze, and they have no weapons, and then they get to pick whatever weapon they go out and kill people. Well, they pick the wrong motherfuckers because they pick Frank Grillo and his like friends that he's made throughout the movie. And there's a scene where like Frank Grillo just fucking kills them all, and it's seriously like straight out of like a Punisher Max comic. It's awesome, and he even like looks like him, and his real name is even Frank. Although his name's not Frank, I don't think in the movie.
Well, then what's the point?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, never mind. Not watching.
Never mind. I just ruined it. But he like kills everybody. He kills, and like all the rich people are watching by bulletproof glass, and he like grabs the gun and just shoots at the bulletproof glass like fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and they're all just terrified. And it was like such an awesome like fuck you moment.
He actually flicked me off when he said that.
Yeah, I was like, fuck you.
Fuck you, Sam.
Yeah.
You especially.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. But we actually paused so I can get up and just get right in his face.
Yeah. Well, that's Chris's move.
Yeah, that is Chris's move.
Literally, like I'm an arm's length away.
Yeah.
And just yeah. I usually gently caress his cheek with my middle finger.
And then I was purged out, so I did not watch the election year. But Frank Grillo's in it again, and so I was like, dude, I'll watch anything with that guy. That guy's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Just freaking cool,
I don't
man.
work like that no more.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I wish Crazy Crossbones stuck around, man.
Yeah. Maybe, I mean, because they're playing with time.
That's
in
true.
The
And he looked cool.
Yeah.
He looked really cool. And they took time to like send like to like.
I think he's contracted for one more. Again, they play with time a bit in the
Nice.
Infinity War movies.
But yeah, they maybe he can show up and he fights Deadpool like in the comic in his whitey tighties.
You just want to see Frank Grillo in his whitey tighties.
No, that wouldn't be bad.
Who doesn't?
That wouldn't be bad. But no, yeah, they set him up, in Winter Soldier, and then like he's kind of pretty much out pretty quick in Civil War.
You know what the genius thing about Winter Soldier is? Because I've been like blogging about every single Marvel movie.
What?
Like
What
you see
is coming?
you see the title and the idea and the way the marketing was like, oh, the big twist is that Bucky is the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
The big twist isn't that Bucky is the Winter Soldier. That's really secondary to everything.
Mm-hmm.
The big twist is that S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
That is genius, man. It's just like, because you expect that. You're like, oh, okay, we're setting this up, and okay, just let's get to it. And then like they go and they fucking talk to computerized Toby Jones. He's like, by the way, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Hydra. And you're like, oh, that was the pin drop moment for me in that movie.
Yeah. That's been on TV a lot, so I've been catching it in like doses here and there.
Yeah.
I haven't sat and watched that all the way through in a while, but man, I mean, it's great.
It's a winner.
It's a great film.
Yeah, it's my favorite of the MCU.
Favorite of all the MCU?
Yep.
Nice. I'm still an Iron Man.
But only the numero uno.
Well, I mean, there's elements of 2 I like, there's elements of 3 I like, but
3 starts really strong.
Yeah. And it has some legit funny stuff in it too. Like when he goes to take out all those dudes, and one guy's like, "Dude, I don't like any." He's like,
all these dudes are weird.
Yeah, I see. But yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot too. Like, I watched Ant-Man recently for the first time in a while, and I was like, man, that's just such a great, perfect little movie. And I mean that like all.
It's just so fun.
It's
a fun movie.
It works so well, and it's almost genius that it's this
and I've really
underrated movie, because it is Ant-Man. So
I've really warmed up to Age of Ultron. The more now that I've kind of like recalibrated my expectations.
Well, I remember when like we watched it. I don't ever remember us hating it. I don't remember us hating it as much as other people did. I remember like, did we do a commentary for that?
No, because the Marvel commentaries were in preparation. That's how long we've been doing this show, guys.
Shit.
We're in preparation
for
the
third Avengers coming out. But yeah, I mean,
yeah. Remember one of the first things that we talked about was the trailer for the trailer of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Jay Leno and David Letterman are still on the air.
Yeah.
When we started this. But yeah, I mean, Age of Ultron has some good shit.
It's like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I like Age of Ultron when it goes deeper, not bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's that moment where like Tony can't. The entire thing is Tony can't handle the possibility that he's going to lose.
Yeah,
like he gets the vision of Thanos and everything.
Boy, is it coming!
yeah, he's going to get fucked up so hard.
Yeah.
They all are, but he gets that vision and he's like, oh, that's why we have to make this because that's the A game.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw when I crossed into that other fucking world, we're not ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
Ultron was how I was going to fight it. How did you plan to fight it? He's very defensive because he never actually apologizes for Ultron in that movie at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just his hubris won't allow him to process all that.
Yeah.
And Captain America, without missing a beat, is like, we'll do it together.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony's just like, then we'll lose. And he's like, then we'll do that together too.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think when it's all said and done, and I'm a bit biased because I love the Iron Man arc and the character and the MCU so much. I mean, I love him in the comics, but so much in the movies too. When it's all said and done, whether he dies in Infinity War or the next one or whatever the fuck happens, I think people, when they sit back and look at the arc, because a lot of people like really just hate Tony. Like, they just fucking hate him. Like, I've talked to a lot of people like, fuck him, hope he dies good, fuck him. And I think when they sit back and they look at what will be the arc, and Tony will be redeemed, of course, you know, in whatever way happens, whether he becomes the AI like some people are speculating, because it'll be a nice, fun, easy paycheck for Robert Downey Jr. and it keeps him in the loop. They'll look back at that arc, his total arc, and be like, Jesus Christ. Like, that is like one of the greatest superhero arcs of all time.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
going
without a
from
doubt.
like 2008 Tony Stark to now 2018.
I know, but I mean, like, even like, you know, the thing that like I think that really cemented so much of like how much I love Robert Downey Jr.'s performance and the MCU Iron Man came from, I mean, like elements of Iron Man 3. Like, he has the post-traumatic stress of he's like, I was in another fucking world, man. Like, you know, like,
that's something that I wish they really explored. Like, there's the alcohol, like, that's where you can kind of tell they're like, make it family friendly.
Yeah.
Is like, they teased the alcoholism in Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. They're like, you know, he's getting full-blown anxiety attacks. He's it's hard for him to breathe and everything. He can't, at the beginning of the movie, he's like, yeah, I haven't slept in 72 hours.
Yeah.
Because he just can't stand the quiet. He's like, I always have, like, he's built 42 Iron Man suits at the by the beginning of Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like, all right, well, the kid's like, just build stuff. And he's like, oh, all better.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a disservice to anybody that.
And then, like, you know, his performance in Civil War, like, is the fucking, again, biased, but like the showstopper for me, because like, in terms of performances, because he, and it's done so well in Extremis, at the end where he's looking in the mirror and he's like, you know, I try to be better every day. That's the best I can do. Yeah. And like, we've always talked about it a million times in this podcast, but like, for Tony to be better and learn from his mistake, he has to make that mistake. And that mistake,
well, he has to admit to the mistake.
Well, he has to admit to the mistake, but that mistake has to happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and that's the only way he learns anything or he grows.
Honestly, my favorite scene in Civil War is when him and like that last appeal to get Cap to sign.
Oh, with the pens and everything.
Yeah,
to break up a set.
Pen, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also look on his face when Bucky shoots him, tries to shoot him in the face. He's like, "You motherfuck." But I mean, like,
well, then he like pulls the gun apart and he like smiles.
Yeah,
he's like, "Look what I just
like,
did."
Ah, yeah, motherfucker.
Still got it.
I still got it.
Remember when you actually like it took fucking time to take the suit on and off, and now it's like fucking Jetsons level ease.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, do his legs just break into a million pieces when he grows the fucking like exhaust thing and goes Mach fucking a million, you know, to say, where do his legs go? I remember there was some podcast they're like, where do his legs go? I was like, I guess they just get like you know, they're just kind of tight
Avengers
quarters.
Infinity War, where are the legs?
Yeah, tight quarters. But again, like, yeah, so much of it is just, you know, Tony's mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
But again, like, I love in Civil War that he's the only dude, and it works for that character, obviously, that he's the only one that we see on screen have to deal with the ramifications of a death face to face with somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of Ultron. That's we don't see him apologize in Avengers 2. We see him apologize in Cap 3.
Yeah.
Though, being Tony, it's a very kind of offhand, like, Ultron, my fault, and then just kind of keeps going.
But I mean, I'm talking about like when the parent comes up.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, you know, this is my boy. And gives like this background. He has to deal with it, and he has to sit with that.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I love his delivery when he's talking about it, and he's like, oh, we're too busy trying to kick ass or whatever, you know, we dropped a building.
Wouldn't know, because we dropped a building on him while we were kicking ass.
Yeah, kicking ass. Like, that is why, like, I remember leaving that theater, I was like, Jesus, like, that's like such an Iron Man. They did it so well with dealing with Tony's inner struggles and stuff with the fallout of Ultron.
Yeah, because like just 8 years or 6 years previous, he was mouthing off to Congress. Now he's
like doing the peace sign.
Yeah. I just privatized world peace. Yeah. The whereas Age of Ultron or Civil War, he's like basically working for the Secretary of Defense.
Mm-hmm.
At least for the bulk of that film. And Cap, the form of propaganda, literally a propaganda tool, is suddenly like a man without a country.
Yeah.
Because the thing that he believed in turned out to be infiltrated by Hydra.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and that just fucking shuts him down. And like, I know, I mean, of course, Winter Soldier's the bee's freaking knees. But for me, my favorite out of the trilogy is still the first one. And that's not because just the Rocketeer implications with Joe Johnston directing it. But
is that your favorite MCU? Oh, no, your Iron Man.
Yeah, but that's my favorite of the Cap trilogy.
Yeah.
It's like, Batman 89 is my favorite Bat movie, but I know The Dark Knight's The Dark Knight,
Yeah. Batman Begins, Batman Returns.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Less so Returns with you.
It's give and take, the
More
whole...
so Returns
yeah,
with you.
Yeah. I dig it. But I love how they totally just use the Captain America propaganda tool in the movie. And
that's the part of the movie I don't like as much.
One of my favorite edit points in all of the MCU is when he starts in like the felt suit, which is like what they wore in the serials back in the 40s. And he's doing like the wham bam, and he has like the shield with all the lines and stuff. And I remember in the theater, I was like, oh my God, like they're really doing this like meta thing with Cap. Like it's fucking awesome. And he's like starting off, he's kind of shaky. He's like, that was Hitler, and he punched him in the face. And then he starts like really buying into his own propaganda and his own ego. And like, I'm doing it, where he's really not doing anything. And he's like, and he starts getting really good and into it. And then he's like, hey, Oklahoma, hey, Cleveland. And then it cuts to him in fucking Europe.
Yeah, in Italy.
And nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
And
Can I get a volunteer? We all volunteer.
And that is one of my favorite moments, because then that's the birth of Captain America. You know what I mean? And then
for me, Steve is Cap before he puts on the shield and takes the
serum. Well, of course. I mean, like the Steve is Steve before he gets the serum. But that idea of now I'm going to go earn it, and I don't know, that buildup of him just being this propaganda tool, and then going with the fucking beat up leather jacket and prop shield, and going in and saving all those people. Like I thought it was so well done, and the kids running around reading Captain America comic books. I mean, that feels like the end of the Rocketeer when the kids are playing Rocketeer in front of Cliff Secord.
Well, at the
and
end,
stuff.
they're running through Brooklyn. They've got the trash can.
That's it.
Like the shield.
That's
I
it.
wish the movie ended there, and the waking up was a mid-credit scene, and that was the original intent. But they're like, no, it's important that they know that he's in present day.
I mean, again. The first Cap gets a little too slow-mo-y for me.
Well, it's like Joe Johnston just discovered that slow motion in 3D exists, and he's like, "Oh, I can do this all the time."
Yeah. My favorite Cap suit, though, if we're going to throw that out there, is still the first Avengers movie.
Oh yeah.
It's just like so. I was like, God damn, that's a nice upgrade. Fuck. I just like sat my head down, like I stopped looking at the theater. In the theater, I stopped looking at the fucking screen for a second. I was like, Jesus. I was just staring at the ground. I was like, Christ, man. I went with the Phones brothers, Eric and Chad, to see the first Avengers. Yeah, we sat in the back row.
Such good eggs.
Yeah. He was like, everything all right? And I was like, fucking, look how smooth that is.
Not in the interview that went up, and I'll probably mention this next week. Not in the interview that's going up with this, but the interview that's probably going up next week. You've got my favorite line of anything you've ever recorded for this show.
Oh, yeah?
It's the Turkish Delights line.
Oh, yeah.
Which I won't elaborate.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. But
what's your favorite MCU? If you I know you've got like 18 to choose from.
Yeah, right. I usually default to Civil War, just because... Probably mostly because I was so disappointed with Ultron, and I was like, Civil War, this was the Avengers 2 that I wanted. But it is like a really well put together movie, in my opinion. Ant-Man was probably my biggest surprise, mostly because like I was really pissed off that Edgar Wright got taken off of the movie. So I was like, well, there's no way it's going to be good now. Yeah. And then I was like, fuck, it is still good.
It still holds up really well.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy was fun. Yeah, good soundtrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Winter Soldier or Civil War. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's still the bee's knees for me's.
The Cap trilogy is out of control, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you think of greatest trilogies of like the 21st century.
Yeah, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle because it's part of this like larger shared universe. But Captain America's trilogy.
Well, I think people forget that Civil War is Cap 3.
Yeah, not Avengers 2.5. Yeah. The It's kind of wild. Like every fucking, if you think about it, Chris Evans was Steve Rogers every year. Has been Steve Rogers every year in at least one movie since 2011. Because you got the first Captain America movie in 2011. 2012, you've got the first Avengers movie. 2013, he's got the cameo in Thor 2. 2014 is Winter Soldier. 2015 is Age of Ultron. 2016 is Civil War. 2017, he's got the cameo in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
That's right. Yeah.
And then this year, he's
Pretty sure this guy's a war criminal. That's such a great line. And he's like, he points like to the gym teachers on the other side of the TV. What was I going to say? Oh, the Incredible Hulk. I love the fight at the end of the third act. Incredible Hulk. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I miss Ed Norton as Bruce Banner.
When he does this is I think we talked about this because we did do that for a commentary. Fucking total nerd moment is when he does the sonic clap. When I saw it the first time, I fucking got emotional because I used to play this. For real, dude. Because I used to play
Ultimate Destruction.
I used to play the Sega Game Gear game. Back in the day.
The leader at the end.
Yeah, where my favorite thing was to become Bruce Banner with like the full health. So when you got hit, you would turn into the Hulk, and it was like the greatest Sega Game Gear transformation. And one of his moves was he could do the sonic clap, and it was like the best thing ever. And so when he does, and I still like that. I like the look the Hulk had for that. But at the end where he does it to save Betty in the helicopter and stuff.
Yeah,
that's
right before he says Hulk smash.
Oh yeah, when he says Hulk smash, I got emotional too. Fuck, that's a good movie, man. And anytime people mention that movie, they're always like, "Oh yeah, like that was a good movie." Like
it's
I think
unprecedented if you think about it. There's no unwatchable Marvel movie.
No,
there's some that aren't as good.
Yeah,
like my least favorite, Thor: The Dark World. But I can still watch. Like if somebody's like, "Hey, Thor: The Dark World," I'll be like, "Fuck it, fine, we're watching Thor: The Dark World."
I don't mind the end of that movie when they're like flying between dimensions and shit.
Kind of portal.
Are you talking about just like proper MCU? Or
like, proper MCU. Okay. There are legitimately
because the Ang Lee Hulk is not that great.
Yeah, Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance.
Well, Fantastic Four 2015.
Oh fuck, with that Doctor Doom scene though. Oh man, that's the fucking
really
shit.
All Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen that one.
Well,
you haven't? We should sit and watch that. 'Cause that's about the only way I'd watch it.
You own
again.
it, don't you?
I don't. No.
Oh, I thought you bought it because of the Doctor Doom scene.
No, I just YouTubed the Doctor Doom scene. I ain't spending money on that shit. No, I'm just kidding.
You mean you don't hover over it, Sam?
Yeah.
You're like founder.
Well, I remember like
Fantastic Four.
They don't have it Fantastic Four on sale.
Remember like we went to go see it.
That's how they get you at the founder. It's always like, hey Sam, it's on sale.
$7 for the Founder Forever.
We went to go see it, and I remember like the beginning of it's not like terrible.
Yeah.
I remember we were like, okay, not bad. And then like there's a moment when I think we did, and one of the few times we've ever did this when the movie came out, we like pretty much recounted the entire movie. Yeah. But there's the movie where like they drunkenly go to Planet Zero. And I remember being like, if they actually go and they leave Sue back and they're drunk, this movie's stupid. And that's exactly what they did.
And it was, in fact.
I did like, again, I did like, I remember walking away and I was like, if I had to pick a favorite performance, I liked The Thing.
I liked Michael B. Jordan as...
but I remember like...
What if we say no? Say yes.
Yeah. Watch this coming. I remember liking The Thing. So there's that. One day they'll get Doom right.
Yeah. Well, they're doing a solo Doom movie.
Oh, good.
It's in development.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is that Sinister Six movie.
Sinister Six.
Yep.
Domo arigato,
Mr. Roboto.
Domo.
Sail away, sweet sister.
Yeah. That's Queen.
Right.
Come sail away.
Yes, that's
the song that's about aliens and not angels. That's my Winter Soldier, because you're like, oh, cool, and then the line is, I thought that they're angels, and then you realize he gets fucking abducted at the end of the song, and you're like, it's aliens. Come sail away is about aliens.
Come sail away with me.
That song fucking rips. It does, man. People make fun of Styx. You listen to that song fucking rules, man.
Yeah.
I've sang it at karaoke.
Oh, nice.
He has.
That's a long song too.
Yeah, I know.
I guess the only thing I've done since last week of repute.
Look at that. He offered it up.
Oh my fuck!
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, please.
Well, it came up during the interview, so I feel obliged to mention it here as well, or at least in full. I'm a contributing writer for Comic Book Resources now.
Woo! That's my boy.
The echo in this room is terrible.
Nicholson. Yeah. No, I've been writing for them for the time this thing posts. It'll be like 2 weeks.
Woo!
I've already got some. It's just the first thing I ever wrote for was about an episode of the Flash that Kevin Smith directed.
Yeah.
Him
and Jay
Jason.
are in it.
Yes, I guess I haven't been watching that.
Jay is definitely in it.
Yeah.
No, Jay. The big thing is that Kevin Smith and him play security guards.
And Kevin Smith doesn't talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa! I wonder where they got that idea.
Yeah. This is like, we're not technically Jay and Silent Bob, but Jason Mewes talks and I don't, so there you go. That was the poll quote I had anyway. But yeah, no, it's been like they're starting me off on the news desk, and it's just been like I've been shooting from the hip, all these little like news stories. Like our friend of the show, Declan Shalvey, his book Injection just got optioned for TV.
Yay!
So I gotta write about that.
Yay.
That was I've essentially monetized my habit, because you guys know I would just post about this on like Twitter or Facebook anyway, and now I get paid to do it.
Good.
So
Nice.
Swag.
yeah. Now if only I could do that about the Beatles.
Yeah. Or this podcast in general.
Yeah, we've been trying.
I just shout "Geek Out" into my computer. I wake up every morning and go, "Geek Out!"
Yeah. So thanks again to Zack Kaplan for coming on.
Yes.
Always a pleasure. Always, I've first met him in San Diego last year and hung out with him at a bar in New York for New York Comicon, and hung out with him at a bar in Seattle for Emerald City, and he's always a good guy and always legitimately exciting to see him with, he's really got the momentum going, man. So I'll go ahead and again, Port of Earth #5 out on May 9th. Lost City Explorers through Aftershock out in June, and watch for the return of Eclipse to be solicited. Sometime it's coming back later this summer. So
watch a Jack Nicholson movie.
Yes,
Pick anyone and watch it.
Tell us your favorite Jack Nicholson film.
Yeah, do it.
Check out A Quiet Place. It like legit gets like thumbs up for me. Not just like, oh, I enjoyed it, but like it's like a fucking good ass movie, and we will talk about it at length once Jake gets to see it. I feel like he's gonna enjoy it, and it'll be that quiet.
I'll probably, by the time we record, I'll either watch that and or
Blockers.
I hear
my
good
mom and
things about
sister saw it
Blockers.
and said it was hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, I hear good things. I hear good things.
They really enjoyed it.
I get tomorrow morning off, and I was thinking about maybe checking it out.
They really enjoyed it.
I finally need to check off Ready Player One, and I'm kind of bummed I didn't get to see Annihilation. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that.
That was really good.
Oh, okay. Well, I hear good things. So
it was very pretty.
I like pretty. I feel pretty and witty. I know what the next line is, guys.
I do too. It's thank you very much.
Good night, Eric Bana.
This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.